Now I'm going to count people off. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11 total people. All right. I'm going to give you guys a persuasive speech today talking about recycling. So by the time we're done with this speech, you are going to want to go home and separate all of your trash into like metals and plastics and all that good stuff. You're going to want to. So we'll start off with a nice statistic. According to Garbage Crisis, 13% of solids are recycled in the U.S., and that's it. And only 1% of plastic is recycled. Plastic. It wasn't plastic, it was like corrugated plastic, I think was the right word. Is that a thing? So anyway, we have a pretty big garbage crisis going on in the world right now. All these places that have garbage piling up, some places don't even dispose of their garbage like they're supposed to. And I'm sure if you ride down the road in Tennessee, you'll find a new piece of garbage every day. You know, you leave the house and you'll see another McDonald's cup or somebody that threw all of their Crystals boxes out the window. So as you can see, it's not really getting any better. People don't really think about it that much. But, you know, if you look at like all the plastic bottles that we use every day, think about if you drink a Mountain Dew, right? So if you drink a 6-pack of Mountain Dew today, just say you do, and you throw all of that into the garbage, right? That's 6 bottles that you could have refilled if they were glass or, you know, even something else, I don't know. But so all those bottles just from you are going into the trash and then going into the dump that could be recycled but are not recycled. So that's, you know, just imagine how it could pile up. 10 people in the room, that's 60 bottles a day, go into the dump, being buried under trash that could be recycled and used again. So instead of reusing those materials to make new bottles, they just go in the trash. They get burned sometimes, they get buried sometimes. Anyway, it's not very sustainable. So eventually we're gonna have issues with that, right? I think maybe 100 years from now, we might run out of metal if we have mined it all up. I don't know, 100 years maybe we won't, but eventually it could happen. I read that it takes, find it, it's on here, it takes about 95% less energy to recycle metal than it does to make new metal, by mining it and all that. So you can take all of the metal that's thrown in somebody's backyard, like my grandpa, for instance, had a bunch of cars in his yard. He had like 15 cars just hanging out in his yard, had newspapers filling the inside of them or something, I don't know, you couldn't see inside. But he never recycled those. And if he did, that would be 95% less energy that somebody had to expend to make a new car. It's interesting to think about. So the city of Naples had a trash crisis a couple of years ago where they could not get their trash taken like to the dumpster. Nobody would come and pick it up because the trash companies closed down. And it was interesting to find that they were actually owned by the mob in their city. So the mob, I guess they didn't want to change how the trash was being taken or how people were disposing of their trash. And because of that, it just kind of went to a standstill and then nobody was taking their trash. So that could really happen anywhere if you think about it. And it would not be good for us. So the moral of the story is kind of, don't be those people. You know, try to be more conscious of your trash and what you do with it. For instance, maybe you could, instead of having one trash can in your house, have one trash can and then 4 little disposable bins with one for plastic and one for paper and one for metal, like they do at the colleges, if you've been to one of those and seen that. So has anybody here heard about the floating trash island in the ocean? Yeah. In 2012, it was reported to be the size of the continental U.S. That's very big. That's like 3,000 miles roughly from east to west. And just 15 years before that, apparently it was only the size of Texas. So that's a lot of growth. If you take like that 15-year time span, maybe it went from like this big to being this big. So by the time I'm dead, it could fill the entirety of the oceans. That would not be good. So maybe we should think a little bit more. And the thing is, no one of us can actually make that big change. Not any of us individually, but all of us individually are the ones that have to do it. Because if we don't make it like our personal responsibility, then nobody will. So I would urge you to think about that. Somebody like the International Surface event in Las Vegas that happened like 2006, I believe it was. They had 540,000 pounds of paper, plastic, and carpets recycled. Just because some people said, hey guys, let's have an event, let's recycle some stuff. And if that hadn't happened, none of that stuff would have been recycled. So it's just something to think about. Maybe each of us should kind of try to take up our mantle of that and do our part to try to get rid of the trash that would originally just go into the big pile of trash, and instead break it up into things that can help us make a more sustainable economy. It'll help businesses that are running out of materials when they do run out of materials, and it'll help our environment. It'll help the oceans. We won't have any dolphins getting their beaks stuck inside of the plastic rings. We've all seen those sad pictures. So I would urge you, please recycle. Please go home, and every time that you throw something in the trash that is recyclable, I want you to picture my big beautiful face telling you, recycle. Thank you.
Stop it.
Yes, sir.